welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a eye tutorial and review on a very brand new palette on the market, and that is the Kat Von D Lolita palette. I am so excited to be diving into this. I asked you guys on Snapchat if you guys were interested in seeing a review and tutorial on this palette, and a lot of you guys were like, girl, yes. I was like, oh my gosh, let me go get it, because I did go ahead and see it a few weeks ago in store and also online. They were like hyping it up, and I was like, do I need that? Do I need that? And then when you guys were like, yes, get it, get it, get it, I was like, I need it. But I mean, I'm excited, and this packaging is beautiful, and I just love the fact that Kat Von D designs all her packaging, and I'm just like, girl, can I have your talent? If you want to see how I created this look right here, then please go ahead and continue watching, and if you want to see my review and my thoughts on this palette and whether you should pick it up or not, then keep watching as well, because I got the tea, girl. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So we're gonna start off with the Lolita palette, and I'm really excited about this because I feel like a palette with all matte shades has been screaming my name lately. I've been really into the all mattes. So this is what the palette looks like without the box. As you can see, it's beautiful. And then you open it, and it looks like this. Now I do want to say I was very hesitant about this palette just because I feel like the shades are kind of similar to those cherry inspired palettes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to work my magic and do something great. I'm just gonna be using my Morphe eyeshadow primer. I've been really obsessed with this primer. I feel like it's the best. And I'm trying to work carefully because I do have my lash extensions on. Lash extensions makes everything a little tiny bit harder when you're doing eyeshadow. They're so great for like everyday life, but when you have to do eyeshadow, you're like, okay, lashes stay in place. And I'm just taking my Morphe M173 brush just to go ahead and pack that color in. And I'm just going in and packing on that primer all over. This primer is so good to really show the pigmentation of the eyeshadow, and also to just have it be wearing on the eyelids all day long. I feel like that's a really big part of it, is just making sure it wears for like the longest time. And then we have to go back in and just readjust our lashes. Okay, so I'm gonna be first starting off with a nice transition color. I think the first color I'm gonna be taking is the shade Lolita, right there. It looks very pigmented. Ooh, that pigmentation is fire. And we're gonna be taking that back and forth. You wanna diffuse this color out because we are going to be layering the colors. Okay, then we're gonna be taking the shade Con Amor right here. And this is a little bit of a darker color. It's almost like a dark brown. Now, this palette does have fallout, as you can see, so just be mindful of that. If you do not like fallout, then you may not like this palette, because it does have a good amount of fallout in there. You really want to get in there and just create this very, very blown out look. And for this look, I know sometimes I tell you to be very light-handed when it comes to this end, because you don't want it to look like you have a bruised eye. But for this look, it's gonna be a really blown out makeup look, so you can just literally take it back and forth until you blow it up, and it's going to be a-okay. I feel like sometimes this edge can be the hardest to have like really diffused out, because a lot of people don't focus. They're always so focused right here in the middle, blending this part out, that they forget about this edge. So you always want to be mindful of that edge and really blend it as much as you can. And you can see that there's definitely two colors in there, because it kind of goes from dark in the center and then it diffuses out to the lighter shade. Now we're going to be taking this shade Promesa right here. It's like a very, 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 very light lilac or like lavender. We're gonna be taking this big brush from Sigma. This is from the Dream palettes with Beauty Bird, and we're gonna be using the brush Cream Color E58, one of my favorite brushes, and we're gonna kind of tap off that extra, and we're just gonna go ahead and do a little bit of like a nice lid color, but while we're doing the lid, we kind of want to cut the crease and going over where my natural lid folds and really cutting it. You guys know that I love that cut crease look. Another reason why I like to work with matte shadows when I have lash extensions is because when you have to work with shimmers, it takes forever to clean up. And then I'm gonna go back with my spoolie just to brush off any fallout from the eyeshadow off the lashes. Spoolies are your best friend when you have lash extensions. I'm just taking the leftover of the eyeshadow that's already on our crease and just kind of building that. And we're going back and forth, because we really want to like blow it up, like I said, evenly through side to side. The colors are blending great, and this matte purple is so beautiful. It's like that, like I mentioned, like lilac-y, like lavender purple. I feel like it looks so pretty on the lid. Usually I would go in with like a white shade, but this is looking beautiful. Okay, then I'm gonna be taking this shade right here, which is called Corazon, right there. And we're not gonna be using too much of it, but we're gonna be using a little bit of it, and we're going to be kind of expanding it right here, and then kind of blending it out. Okay, maybe that was not the move. Whenever you fuck it up, you gotta just take a big blending brush and then just diffuse whatever color you may have done the boo-boo with, like me right now, and blend it into what you already have. So you're gonna be there for a minute blending that out. I'm just making sure that it's all blended. I don't know why I did that. I just wanted to use as many colors as we could from this palette, and it ended up shafting me. Whenever you guys, you know, end up putting a color that's super hard to blend, or just the way that you placed it, like how I just kind of placed it in the line, always, if you want to diffuse it, go in with a super fluffy, big blending brush, because it will diffuse it out, and you can see how much it diffused that color out. So now we're good. Okay, so with that color that we went in to, I don't know, do whatever the hell we did up there, Corazon, we're gonna go ahead and take it and do a wing liner. So lately I've been really into doing wing liner with shadow. One, because my lashes, it just is easier for me to do wings with shadow because it comes off faster than it does with the gel liner. So I'm gonna be taking the color Corazon, and I'm just going to be pulling a little bit. So that's really what I've been doing. I've just been living for this. And I did it a little too long, so we may have to go back in and cut it a little bit shorter. But that's the cool thing about doing a wing liner with shadow, that you're able to really kind of like soften it up or make it more intense. Like, it's not like straight up intense as it would be with a gel liner or like a liquid liner. So you just have a lot of room to play with it. And these shadows are very pigmented. Like, you can see that this is still a purple shadow. Like, you know, with some eyeshadows, you put it on and you can't really tell, it just looks like a dark color, but this, you can see that it's purple. Now, you don't have to make the wing this intense. You can definitely make it shorter, make it longer, make it whatever you want it to be. But I just love how pretty it looks. Like, just all together, it looks so pretty. Now, this is very similar to the makeup look that I had on my Kim Kardashian, West, Kylie Jenner lip collab video that I did. Very similar, except I used a different color scheme. I know a lot of you guys asked me about it. So it's just a very similar situation. It's just different colors that I used. But like you can see, I just love this idea of doing this shadow wing liner. And I'm using my Sigma E65 brush. This is my favorite brush to do eyeliner. And it just is the perfect angled brush. You don't have to own this exact brush, but if you do have like a nice angled brush, I would really recommend that to do your wing liner if you want to try wing liner with eyeshadow if you haven't done so already. Like, can we just take a minute for this eye? Like, yes. Okay, so now we're gonna go back in with our spoolie just to kind of brush out our lashes because they did kind of all clump to one side. Whenever I'm doing my eyeshadow, I do kind of have to continuously go back and fluff them up. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little tiny bit more of the shade Lolita right there because I just love that shade so much. I feel like it's the perfect shade for your crease. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of it because I feel like we diffuse too much of the color on our crease because we're trying to get rid of that corazon, which looks great as a liner, by the way, but just didn't look great up here. So we're just gonna try to add a little bit more intensity up here. Okay, so that is pretty much this part of the eye completed. Once I go ahead and do this off camera and finish it, I'm gonna go ahead and do some more work using these colors because let's see how many colors we used. We used 1, 2, 3, 4. So we used 4 colors and there are 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8 colors. So we used 4 and we have 4 more that we didn't use. Now I'm probably not gonna go ahead and use Eterno. I think this is like a very, very deep, deep purpley shade. I'm not gonna use that because I already used Corazon as our wing. I was looking at this and I was like, you know what, that's really pretty, but I feel like I always do a very dark wing liner, so I kind of wanted to switch it up and do something that's a little bit lighter that went with the color scheme of what's already on the lid and the crease. So that's why I went in the Corazon. But I'm gonna try to use these other shades that we didn't really touch, which are probably these 4 right here. But if we can't, we can always do more looks with this palette because this palette so far, I'm liking how it's performing. I like how small and compact this is. Like, this is good stuff. So I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna do this eye and then we can go ahead and snatch everything else. Okay, so now that we've done both eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of lower lash line work because I wanna play with one more color. So I'm gonna be taking this color right here, Recuerdos, and it's like a nice like plum shade. We're gonna be running that in our lower lash line, like so. It's very similar to the shade we have as our wing liner, which is Corazon, except Corazon is a little tiny bit more like purpley. I feel like this one's like a little bit more muted. But once it's laid on, I feel like it looks very similar. And I love smoking out the lower lash line because I feel like it adds that really good intensity. And we're only gonna be smoking out this outer edge. And we're gonna take that same shade, Recuerdos, right on this side. I always like to start off with a lighter hand and then gradually build up the color because sometimes if you just start off really dark right away, it can just look like way too intense. Okay, and then the last shade we're gonna go ahead and take is the shade Besitos, and I'm just going to kind of be opening up the eye with that shade in the inner part where we didn't take that color, Recuerdos. So kind of like right there. Let me actually go ahead and use a different brush so that we have some separation. And bam, we are good. So I think because I want to stick to this like cool little situation, I'm gonna be taking a little bit of my white eyeliner. Just like that. Do you see how I try to be very, very light-handed with the pencil because I don't want it to be too white where it looks very fake, but I don't want it to be too light where you can't really tell. Ooh, yes. There we go, that's what I wanted. Bam. Wow. I'm like obsessed with this look. It is so beautiful. I know I say that often about a lot of the looks that I do, but this look in particular, like I'm just living. So that is the completed eye look. Okay, so this is the completed look. I put everything together. Skin, highlight, eyes were Gucci. So I really quickly want to talk about what I have on my list because I feel like you guys will be asking me, and also I feel like I should mention it because it's a Kat Von D product. So in honor of us doing a look with the Lolita palette, I'm going to show you guys the lipstick that I use, which is by Kat Von D. This studded packaging legit just gives me life. But this is the OG Lolita, which I have on my lips. It is more of their creamy formula. I think it's like at the newer formula. I remember when they first came out with that old formula, I hated it. That was when I used to work at Sephora. And it was just such a like thick, nasty, drying consistency. This one is so nice and creamy. Like it's matte and long wearing, but it's still very creamy where you're like, moisture. So now we're gonna go ahead and talk about the palette as a whole and my thoughts on it. This palette does come with 8 shades and they're such beautiful shades. This is a matte palette. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're not into mattes, you like more of shimmers, you like a palette of mixtures, then you may not like this one. For me, honestly, I have so many palettes and I use shimmers all the time that I really wasn't like, oh, I don't need that because it's only mattes, because I have so many fun palettes with shimmers and all different types of textures. So me having a matte palette was actually great. Also, like I mentioned, I've been really into the matte trend lately for my eye makeup. And also, I wanna say that I was really interested with the direction that they went with this Lolita palette because, like I mentioned, Lolita is an OG favorite of a lot of people for a very long time. If you don't know, what she did was she created the liquid lipstick Lolita, and then it was such like a phenomenon. Like people were obsessed with that. I remember in 2014, 2015-ish, when I was working at Sephora, people came into Sephora looking for Kat Von D Lolita all the time. It was Kat Von D Lolita, it was Kat Von D Bow and Arrow, and some other fun shade that she had. She was kind of like the first one to have those liquid matte lipsticks in stores at Sephora, so people were constantly going to that. This was when like liquid lipstick had just first hit stores. When I saw that they were gonna do like a Lolita palette, I was like, I feel like it's gonna be very warm tones. So I'm actually really happy that they decided to go in this direction because I feel like for a long time, when I thought of Lolita, I thought of just very like warm colors, like browns, those like cream shades, those like orangey burnt shades. But I'm happy that she didn't take that route. I'm happy that she kind of went in with like the warm colors, of course, but she also added some cool colors and then like those plum colors. I feel like for so long we had so many warm palettes that if this would have been another warm palette, I would have just been like, no. I really like when companies come out and have like, of course you're in your comfort zone colors, but then they add like pops of different tones that you wouldn't necessarily always gravitate towards, but because I bought this palette, I feel like it really pushes me to use these colors that I probably would have never used on their own if it wasn't for me, you know, gravitating towards the concept. The packaging is just so compact and it's so carry-on friendly. It's not bulky or anything. It's just perfect to just go on the go with you. So I really like what they did with this palette. As you guys saw, the shadows blended out so beautifully on my eyes and they're very pigmented. I had no issues with fallout on my under eyes, which was surprising considering that there was a good amount of fallout in the pans. But I'd rather there be fallout in the pans than there be fallout on my under eyes. And I really didn't see that, which I was like, yes, thank goodness, because I just took some good time applying this foundation and the last thing I want to do is have to reapply it because there's eyeshadow on my under eyes. And I feel like this is a very wearable palette, but you can also dress this up for night looks. Like if you want to do a smoky eye, you have some good colors right here that are different than your typical warm tone colors. Packaging is absolutely phenomenal. I really hope that Kat Von D decides to do more palettes like this that are kind of themed after the like well-known liquid lipsticks. Like if they did a bow and arrow palette after like bow and arrow lipstick, that would be cool because it would definitely be more of a cool tone palette because bow and arrow liquid lipstick is a very nice like cool tone brown. So I would love to see something like that if they kind of like modeled after their liquid lipsticks. If they also did like a fun palette, like a very colorful palette like this, that would be really awesome to see in 2019. So I definitely think this is worth your cash, especially if you're looking for an all matte palette. This is something that you should look towards. If you're not into these colors, but you're still looking for a good all matte palette, definitely check out her eyeshadows. I will link some of my favorites down below. I'm really excited to create more looks with this palette because this look that I did today is definitely one of my favorite looks that I've done in 2018. And it was very easy to create. I just used a few brushes and this one palette, and I was like, bam. If you guys did enjoy watching this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It lets me know to continue doing these types of videos. And if you guys have any other palettes you want to see me review and do a tutorial on, please go ahead and leave them down below in my comment section. And also, if you haven't entered my huge holiday giveaway, please don't forget to do so because it's huge and you don't have much time. So I'm gonna have it linked up here so you guys can go ahead and check out that giveaway. And I think that's it. Don't forget to subscribe and become a member of our family here on YouTube, and I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye guys.